FBI says it's sorting through thousands of tips in the search for Nancy Guthrie. Still, no suspect has been named. It's time for the Streamline. Everything you need to know today in 10 minutes or less. The 84-year-old mother of Savannah Guthrie has been missing for 12 days now. Right now, law enforcement searching through the foothills of the Catalina Mountains for anything the suspect might have thrown away. So you see the person here captured on Nancy's front door camera the night of her disappearance. Officials are still trying to determine the source of the 2 ransom notes as well, demanding $6 million in Bitcoin, with deadlines that have since passed and no proof of life.
It's difficult to locate and rescue the person who's been kidnapped. The complexity of these investigations have been made even more intense because kidnappers are increasingly using technology to plan these operations, to receive the ransoms in these operations, and to avoid detection by law enforcement.
Let's go back to this doorbell video. Since it was released, more than 4,000 calls have flooded into tip lines, with a total of 18,000 since Guthrie vanished. It was a fiery hearing on Capitol Hill yesterday with Attorney General Bondi. She was called to testify before the House Judiciary Committee about the handling of the investigation into convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. It started on a somber note. Bondi expressed sorrow for Epstein's victims, but Bondi declined to apologize for the Justice Department's initial failure to redact victims' names from the files. From that point forward, well, you can see what happened.
You can let her filibuster all day long, but not on our watch. And I told you about that, Attorney General, before you started.
You don't tell me.
Yeah, I did tell you because we saw what you did in the Senate.
You're a lawyer, not even a lawyer.
Republican Thomas Massey then pressed Bondi on why the DOJ initially redacted the names of some powerful men, including billionaire Les Wexner.
Within 40 minutes, Wexner's name was added back.
Within 40 minutes of me catching you red-handed.
There was one redaction out
where
of
he's
over
listed as a co-conspirator.
And we invited you in. This guy has Trump derangement syndrome. He needs to get, you're a failed politician.
Bondi repeatedly referred to a binder with prepared information on some of the lawmakers. Bondi argued instead of Epstein, lawmakers should focus on President Trump's successes, including his focus on crime.
A new rift may be forming between the president and some Republicans in the House. 6 of them voted with Democrats on Wednesday to rescind the tariffs on Canada. On social media, the president threatened those Republicans, writing, "Any Republican in the House or Senate that votes against tariffs will seriously suffer the consequences come election time," and that includes primaries. A new report from the Nonpartisan Tax Foundation shows tariffs cost the average American household $1,000 last year. That number is set to increase to $1,300 this year if tariffs stay in place. The bill will head to the Senate, where it's unlikely to pass. Even if it does, the president will likely veto it.
Our students really deserve better.
San Diego Unified leaders were in Sacramento Wednesday pushing state lawmakers for more special education funding. Special ed, they say, takes up about a quarter of the budget, and with a big deficit, San Diego Unified needs some help. ABC 10's reporter Yasmin Ludi spoke with the school board's vice president about how the support could reduce long-term challenges.
San Diego Unified says they're covering majority of the costs for special education. If they don't get support from the state soon, they'll have to start making budget cuts, which could eventually impact students.
Not only do we have a large special education student population, but that is continuing to grow.
Almost 25% of the San Diego Unified's budget is spent on special education.
The state is only putting in about 30% right now. So much of our budget deficit is because we have shortages in the area of special education.
Sabrina Bazo is the vice president of the San Diego Unified School Board. She says they have a roughly $50 million budget deficit, adding that around this time last year, the deficit was $186 million.
We'll find places to cut, I'm sure.
But ultimately, they need more support.
If we could have Sacramento paying their fair share to help support us in our special education area, we wouldn't have we wouldn't have an issue with the deficit at this point.
She says some of the lack of funding comes from federal.
It's called the IDEA funding, but the majority, it comes from the state funding as well.
But they're also calling on the state to release more funds that are being held. If they get it, they'd focus the funding on 3 things: professional development for transitional kindergarten teachers, a support system designed to give students the help they need before special education referrals are made, and providing students with behavioral and emotional support early on.
Seems to be a constant battle to get what really, our students really deserve better.
Yasmin Ludi, ABC 10 News.
More sewage problems in the Tijuana River Valley. A wastewater pipeline ruptured Tuesday during construction south of San Ysidro. It sent 36,000 gallons of sewage into the area. The U.S. International Boundary and Water Commission sent portable pumps and water vacuum trucks to capture the wastewater. They say it never reached the Tijuana River, but one South Bay doctor tells ABC 10 News that any wastewater exposure still poses a health risk.
Pathogens are being spread throughout our community, and it may not even be in an area that's highly populated, but we have vectors. Maybe a bird flies, lands on the sewage contaminated area, and then comes to our home and lands on our patio, and then we become infected that way.
Officials say the pipeline was repaired and there were no impacts to the water treatment plant.
Medical debt is becoming a huge financial burden for Americans as the bills start to add up, from the cost of labs to procedures to medicine. But there are financial options out there to help get you back on track.
I'm just really passionate about computers and making software that impacts people.
Even as a young girl, Selena Barrow wanted to become a computer engineer, and that's what she was studying at UCLA when she suddenly got sick.
I was experiencing some symptoms where I was like passing out and fainting randomly, and it was a little scary what happened around my friends and family too.
She was sent to a number of specialists and had to undergo further testing, medical attention she thought her insurance was going to cover, but she was wrong.
So I was still in school. I had to still worry about paying rent and my bills and everything else. And then I was just handed all these medical bills I didn't really know how to deal with.
Selena ended up with $5,000 in medical debt on top of the debt she was already working to pay off.
At one point, I was so scared I had to pull out a little bit of student loans as well, just kind of like as a safety cushion in case I didn't have enough money to pay for it.
And she's not alone. About 14 million people owe more than $1,000 in medical debt. According to Bankrate.com, a personal finance website, Americans rack in a total of $220 billion in medical debt a year. Selena says she reached out to her bank for help and was sent to Money Management International, a nonprofit credit and housing counseling agency, which provides counseling and financial education. Thomas Nitchie, who is a spokesperson for the agency, says if you fall into this situation, make sure you ask questions.
First of all, try to become an expert of your own situation. Use tools like ChatGPT. Reddit has a great debt-free community. These are places where you can go anonymously and safely. You can start to get your brain around what is possible. What are the next steps? What should I do? Another common thing is errors in medical billing. So it's really important to ask for a detailed bill so that you understand what it is you're being billed for. Make sure there aren't any mistakes.
Next, Thomas says check in with your insurance company, making sure that all the benefits that are due to you have been paid out to the provider. Also, ask about a payment plan or financial assistance, as many people qualify for help and may not know it. Thomas adds if you can avoid placing your entire bill on a credit card because you may end up paying more because of interest. And if you still need assistance, Thomas suggests talking to a professional financial educator to come up with a plan to get you back on track. Marie Cornell, ABC 10 News.
In Ohio, a horse named Dixie is doing okay after being rescued from a swimming pool in freezing temperatures. Fire crews in Monroe Township say the horse fell into the pool Monday after wandering out of her pasture. Firefighters put on wetsuits to get some straps and a harness around Dixie. They used that to guide her into the shallow end and get her out of the water. A veterinarian says Dixie is now stable. Let's hope she stays in her stable. That's your ABC 10 News Streamline. Everything you need to know today in under 10 minutes.